Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
While others continue to cheer him, well, more questions continue to linger. Could this be a political game changer? And is this spelling tough times for the weak opposition? Could actually Nsibambi be now filling the void in the opposition and causing, or rather creating a new avenue where politicians will sit down to speak? Could this be a new dawn in national politics? Well, joining me tonight is Honorable Chris Baryomunsi, Minister for Information and National Guidance. He's also had a fair share of media limelight. We won't go there. He's been in the spotlight, of course, for reasons you wouldn't love to discuss tonight.
For the right reasons.
Where we are now, I think you lost the battle.
Are you sure? No. I was making one point that the government communication and the political messaging must be harmonized. As the Minister of Information, all those who speak for government must align with what I am speaking.
Who is with you and against you?
No. Everybody's with me.
Okay. Honorable George Musisi, Council, MP-elect for Kira Municipality. Honorable Yusuf Nsibambi, the man in the storm. And Honorable Fred Mukasa Mbidde, Deputy President, the Democratic Party, joining us tonight. A very good evening and welcome aboard. Honorable, can I still identify you as a member of the opposition, the FDC, given the sense of suspicion and resentment that you've suffered from your colleagues?
Yeah, Mr. Anjala and viewers, good evening. I'm the Deputy President, FDC Central. I'm still on the FDC ticket as a member of Parliament.
Yeah, but
I'm also the whip of FDC in Parliament, so I'm still.
Your
FDC.
party seems to portray you as a disgrace after going against what you would call their norm.
Not exactly. The party is concerned about my meeting the president. It could be a disciplinary matter or maybe a misunderstanding. It's still an indoor issue which we can resolve in our housekeeping meetings. But I'm still a member of FDC until otherwise dismissed or suspended by the party organs.
Are you ready to pay the price?
For what now?
For what the party seems to feel was inappropriate.
No, the party has not come up with a position yet. None of the...
Yeah, but they disowned you.
No. The party president in a presser talked about not knowing about this meeting. But the other party organs and official communication officers, like the Secretary General, who is doing the day-to-day management of the affairs of FDC, who is aware of all these meetings. So maybe there's some bit of misinformation which you have to clarify at the appropriate time within our party.
How much would you need to explain to the country that this wasn't personal, but it was in national interest?
Yeah, I will definitely explain. That's why I'm here. This is a very big media house. At the end of our discussion and conversation, I'm sure that small misunderstanding will be clarified.
It's 1 week down the road since you met the president.
Yes.
Is there anything to register or to master that we can say, these are the low-hanging fruits we've gotten so far?
Exactly. Now, yesterday at Impigi Court, 34 people, young men and women, were released. As we talk now, I have a list of 50 people, including prominent NOP members who are arrested. They will be released within 2 weeks, if it is the wish of the party and the families. Then 2 weeks thereafter, we expect to have another 70 people released all over Uganda. And then, even before March or end of April, we'll have most of the prisoners, you call them political, the state is saying the criminals will be released again under an arrangement. And I believe at that moment, these people have been in incarceration for the last 4 years. Their families are suffering. I can cite one example which council here knows. Yasin Kauma, the driver of the president of NUP, Bobby Wine, the family or the kids are not going to school. They are immediate neighbor in Buyaya and PG district, at Buyaya and PG district. So that gives really hope that we can sit down and talk and we have results from the state.
So now as we speak, you look at President Museveni as a magnanimous person, right?
Yeah, I never interacted with him personally in the past. I've been an activist. I've been one of the activists in Defiance. But when we talked, I've met the president, even before even these pictures came out, 2 times last year, and then this year again 2 times. On 3rd, that's when we hatched this deal of inviting other stakeholders to talk to the president about a range of issues, but specifically about the incarcerated youth. And when you talk to him, you find him a different person, really. I'm 60 years old. I've been involved in politics. I've been involved with politicians. But whatever he says, the next day he goes ahead to implement. And there's a great think tank, which maybe we are lacking, either out of lack of resources. So throughout the think tank and the interaction and conversation, he listens, he consults, and would even call you. He even one time called me at 6:30 twice and said, "Oh, why are you sleeping? Do you think you can manage state issues when you sleep beyond 6:30? And I could not believe this from a head of state and fountain of honor. You know, in all these other parties and our interactions, when one is appointed or elected as a leader, he becomes a cult or a king.
Heart.
A change of heart.
What a change of heart.
It's
So
not,
you didn't know the man you were
it's
fighting.
normal. I
with,
didn't know. I didn't know for sure. I thought he was a head of state, so dictatorial, tyrannic. But when he said, I have no problem with these young men, actually he's even promising to put up a fund. Either he was saying who is going to run it, most people are not clear, to rehabilitate them and then ensure that you have hubs, skilling hubs to avoid redundancy and confusion within our politics. Then all these other issues going to the dialogue. That small meeting maybe will not handle.
So the Nsibambi magic is working, right?
So he suggested that we should have a bigger range of stakeholders, including religious leaders, to arbitrate.
Thank you. Let me bring in Council George. Council, as a member of the opposition, are you in this dilemma on whether to feel thankful to Nsibambi that, courtesy of his bold move to meet the president, the prisoners, political prisoners, are going to be released?
They have already, you have 34 people released from PG court.
Thanks to Nsibambi.
My PG, yes. Not in Nsibambi, but I think it's both ways. The other side of the eye of the state and us who are coming from the opposition.
Well, good evening to the viewers and to the panelists here. For starters, I should mention that Honorable Nsibambi is well within his rights to meet whoever he wants to meet. Secondly, for people who are in prison for political reasons, or prisoners of conscience, or who we call political prisoners, the Eddie Mutwes, the Dr. Besiges, and so on, don't deserve to be in prison. So both at a personal level and at an institutional level, we've always demanded for their release, even if they're released by the devil, even if Satan opened the gates of Wulira and Chitalia tomorrow, I'll be the first person to celebrate, because they don't deserve to be in prison in the first place. Whether this...
You ought to be thankful to Nsibambi.
Well, like I said, whether we are thankful or not, that is a story for another day. The question, though, we don't have a problem with anyone meeting Mr. Museveni, General Museveni, for whatever reason. The circumstances surrounding the meeting are what we have a problem with, because whereas, like I've mentioned, Honorable Nsibambi is well within his rights, he has tried to blackmail a number of people in the course. When meetings like that happen, and they are personalized instead of institutionalized, you find that they handle issue by issue and they never handle the systemic issues. For instance, just last year, you know that we had a number of political prisoners released. Last year, but one in 2024, under the auspices of the Minister of Children Affairs. And they had to first...
Balam.
Yes, they had to first be forced to plead guilty in order to get their release. Now, the question, though, is if, because it was a piecemeal approach to the issue of release, you find that so many others remained in custody. Machete, even others beyond those who are known, even those beyond those who are no pleading. And the abductions and kidnappings have continued by the state because there was never an institutional framework of the discussion of which led to the release. So why I said that Honorable Sibambi has attempted to blackmail everyone to the meeting, he has said that, well, some opposition people have always played around. And even I had him taking a swipe at the lawyers who are representing Dr. Kizza Besigye, which I also found unfair, saying they are playing to the gallery. Honorable Sibambi, like he has rightly mentioned, has been in the trenches, and I have a lot of respect for him. Not only as it has been the trenches of. I saw Honorable Sibambi 20 years ago representing political prisoners with the late Council Chiemba Mutale, with the late Senior Council Honorable Njuba, and the same things that are happening now to political prisoners happened then when you are representing them. In fact, at that point, even lawyers shed blood. Lawyers were beaten. Prisoners were kidnapped after getting bail at High Court. Honorable Sibambi was there. I don't think he was posturing. He knows the problems that people go through doing that. So I am saying that and then, of course, he has given other reasons, saying, all of a sudden I've realized that this is a person you can talk to. And we've had that rhetoric every time, especially we've come out of an election. We had it in 2011, we had it in 2016, we had it in 2021, and Honorable Sibambi is spearheading it. Of course, it's good. And like I've said, it's good to release. Those people don't deserve to be in prison. And it's good to go for an emotive issue, like issues of political prisoners and so on and so forth. However, the fundamental issues will remain because the talks or what that have led to the release are not institutionalized. The political prisoners...
Would you again appreciate the fact that because Sibambi swallowed the bullet and went to meet the president, what had initially proven to be very complex has now been resolved in a matter of hours. The prisoners are out. So talking works, doesn't it?
And I'm saying talking works especially if it's formalized, if it's institutionalized, because and we continue to demand for the release of all those prisoners. And we are happy that any person who doesn't deserve to be in prison is out.
No,
however,
the intricacies can be for another day. What you must appreciate does talking.
What happens if they are releasing 2 and they are taking 4 inside? What happens? That's the point I'm making. That if the talking is not institutionalized and it's at an individual level, because that's where we were 2 years ago. That's where we were in 2016. And then at the end of the day, we find that we're in the same circle of going around circles.
Honorable Barrio Musi, what's your take on the storm that is brewing over Sibambi's meeting with President Museveni?
Well, first of all, the problem we have in Uganda, we have elements in the opposition who are part of a disloyal opposition, where you have a president. The president is the president for everybody. There should be no issue that somebody has met a president. You see, there are political parties like NUP and maybe FDC, when it started, it's radicalized form, whose ideological agenda is like to spew hatred against President Museveni, hatred against NRM. You don't see much in terms of ideology, but rather just a radicalized message against President Yoweri Museveni. If you recall, what is like Ajawogenda, Tajakuraira, Tovaremese, that kind of rhetoric.
Magere Muntebe.
Tugene Ntebe Muntebe. or that kind of rhetoric. So for them, they have pushed an agenda that you can't meet the president. And the question is, why? You can see like Dr. Kizza Besigye, since he came out to vie for the presidency, I think it was only on 2 occasions in Mbale when the president went to church and Besigye was there and Besigye moved out. And then one time when we were in Namugongo for Mother's Day, where the president moved to greet him. And other than that, maybe the presidential debates. Other than that, he has avoided meeting the president. The same with Chagulanyi. He has avoided the iPod because he knows iPod, the president attends, so he avoids it. And I don't think that is a hygienic process. If we are to build democracy, then we should be able to meet and interact. What is the problem with a leader of an opposition party?
Yeah, but how does your president come off when he chooses to meet individuals, not institutions?
You know, but if you choose to meet him, he receives you. If you make an appointment, even you, if you request to meet the president, he will not say, come with your parents, come with your family. He will meet you the way you have requested. So if Honorable Sebambi and his friends said, we want to meet you, did you want the president to say, you call everybody in opposition to come?
Sebambi, did you request to meet the president or the president invited you?
I requested to meet the president.
Why after losing?
Twice through, no, way before. I said I met him twice last year, actually thrice. I met him
Secretly?
twice. Secret about what now?
No, when you were meeting him then it was secret, right?
No, it was not secret, though that didn't come out publicly. But I met him thrice. No, it was not even a private meeting because I'm an elected leader and the chief whip of a party. And my party knew, at least the Secretary General knew. So at that it was...
So you joined the list of politicians who secretly meet President Museveni in the night?
I don't know, it was not at night actually. The first time I met him, it was actually before lunch at Entebbe, then twice at Nakasero in broad daylight. Actually at Nakasero I met Biaruhanga, I met a lady called Sebagala Mariam, within a delegation from Bukedeya, a full Costa. Then at State House I also met him. I met very many people. It was not in secret.
So, that's what I'm saying. What is wrong with an opposition leader meeting a president?
Yeah, but how?
Completely nothing. If we can meet in the parliament and we are on the NRM side and the opposition side and we engage on national issues, what is wrong
Does
with...
it buff for you that meetings with the president have been vulgarized to be interpreted as a moment of eating? Whoever goes to State House turns out to be an eater.
Does Sebambi look fatter than he was before I went to see the president? He's the same size. So there are those, you can't stop people from talking. People will talk. But meeting the president doesn't necessarily mean you are looking for money or for any handout. You can meet him and engage on matters, democracy, matters political.
Honorable Mbidde,
Yes.
I know DP was at the forefront at one time when you said it's time for us now to engage the president. Do you applaud Nsibambi's meeting with the president?
I have very scant information about Honorable Nsibambi's meeting. I am reading much of it from the media. We have not had occasion to share. What I can say is that I find it consensus among us all right-thinking members of society that there should be dialogue. We are just coming from an aftermath of an election, which ought to have been the other alternative in which we would have removed the president. The results are known, and it looks like in terms of the country, we are trapped in what they call a Skyland Kalibutis, which is part of the Greek mythology. You see, they had...
I have to go to Google.
No.
Mr. Google.
Maybe he's jaundiced.
So, in terms of a sea that has got, for example, a whirlpool of water, which is moving at a very fast rate, capable of sinking ships. And on the other side, there is an immortal, man-eating animal. So you must choose. You either die by the animal or die by the sea. So that is where we are trapped. So clearly, I think the
I love that analogy.
Yes.
Who in this case is the man-eating animal?
One side, there is a man-eating animal.
Called?
Which is the skyla. Now the Karibudis is the whirlpool, which also can sink you if you are a ship. They are all located in the same sea. So we are trapped amidst. Some other people, of course, call it the being trapped between a rock and a hard place. So you must make choices as a country to move. What Honorable Nsibambi is suffering from is generally form. The form in which he made the contact. The form in which, of course, he is orchestrating the dialogue. Because you can be obviously accused of being macro-democratic and micro-autocratic. That on the national scene, you are actually proposing and a proponent of ideas of democracy. While personally you chose to go alone, which is autocratic in nature. So I think what we need to do is to have institutionalized dialogue in Uganda. It must be institutionalized because you are running a risk of, for example, freeing prisoners than addressing the objective reasons that, first of all, made it a logical necessity for them to be imprisoned. They must not have been in prison in the first place. If there was misconduct on the part of the prisoners, we must also dig. What was the objective reason that made it a logical necessity for those fellows to act in such a way that the appropriate place of abode should be prison? Now, if you don't address those, one writer, I think one of the books that we read, Darkness at Noon by Arthur Koestler, wrote that this is a diseased century. I have diagnosed the disease, that the situation is now fossilized. We have diagnosed the disease and its causes with microscopic exactness. But wherever we have applied the healing knife, a new sore appears. We may run a risk of having proponents for dialogue every after effects of an election. Now, the dialogue that is not structured is not qualitative.
Why are you quick to call this a dialogue?
Huh?
I mean, does
For
the
me, I have a
between
feeling-
Nsibambi pass for a dialogue of any sort? I thought a dialogue is more structured.
Exactly.
That is what I intend to have. The meetings, because in Uganda, because Honorable Nsibambi is incidentally my teacher. In Uganda, we went multi-party on majorly two major fronts. The first front was that of a choice by the people to go multi-party. Then there was a choice by the international community to pressurize African countries under the Africa Action Plan to go multi-party. So clearly, what Honorable Nsibambi now needs to do is to do the needful. If you must entertain a proposal that is, first of all, incongruous to the population, it is not clear. This is not something that is known to many. In Uganda, it can result, in Kenya, when they were debating broad-based, others called it bread-based, because they never understood it. So it can be misunderstood if you do not choreograph it in such a way.
So how much explanation does he have to do? Or has he fallen in the same trap that you suffered?
No.
When you had a cooperation agreement with President?
He needs to begin to restart the dialogue, now beginning with his own political parties. You begin with dialogue at home before you definitely now export it elsewhere. Otherwise, you will now be pulled back and forth in such a way that, first of all, it will become a new...
Do you look at Nsibambi for now as someone who was the leader of a new dawn of politics that could define post-elections and this term for President Museveni?
Of course, the characters have to be equally studied. You need to study President Museveni if you want to go as a person before him. He's, first of all, a very patient character. I think one of the major tools that he uses is patience. When President Museveni sees a snake, he cannot kill it. He will appoint a committee on snakes. So for him, that is how he operates. Now, if you are to confront President Museveni, I think you must be, for all intents and purposes, first of all, qualitative, ideological, and structure must ensue. If you go as an individual, obviously he will answer all your questions in the positive. He will free prisoners without telling you why they were imprisoned. Now, if the process of imprisonment was irregular, and the process of freedom is equally irregular, then we are now following a pendulum movement in history, swinging from absolutism to democracy, from democracy back to absolute dictatorship. That means we shall now be booking new entrants into prison, and obviously then having them freed, like what Comrade Musi has said. So what we need to do, first of all, let us study the character of the president himself. Then study our own characters. Sit, dialogue, and take a framework that is capable of being discussed before him.
Do you agree that Nsibambi is now leading the narrative for dialogue?
That narrative he's leading, I agree. Dialogue as a must should take place in Uganda. As to whether he must move it as a moving swan song on his own lips, now that is something that he will make a choice for.
Do you feel relieved as DP that finally someone else is joining what you started?
Yes, indeed. Indeed we feel. Because we think, you have seen the election and how it has and clearly, because you see, election is in countries where people are dissatisfied and disgruntled at a mechanism in which they have been held. It acts as what we call a casus belli. It usually acts as a cause for war. In Uganda, it isn't. But there is dissatisfaction in terms of how it has been held. Uganda is not running an autocracy. It is not running a dictatorship. And we have been telling people, but they don't choose to understand. That is why we have been waiting for the international community to act, and they will never act. They know we are not running a dictatorship in Uganda. What is being run is something technically choreographed to first of all look like a democracy, while at the same time it maintains properties of an autocracy. It is called the dictablanda. And I have been telling people where dicta comes from dictatorship and blanda is soft. So you are allowed to hold periodic elections. But the quality of the elections itself is almost a selection. And it keeps government moving. They allow you freedoms. They are not stifled, but they are restrained a bit. You are allowed to have airwaves, but not beyond Kampala during elections. And I can tell you, this passes for a democracy outside Uganda, and it doesn't here.
Thank you. Honorable
So you
Nsibambi.
need dialogue. Mr. Simon, as I conclude, we need dialogue. As we begin with our own dialogue on the opposition, while President Museveni also administers dialogue with his soul, then with his political establishment, so that the meeting of minds then can deliver Uganda to a
Honorable
better future.
Nsibambi, another issue that has stirred the waters is your mentioning of NUP members who you went with, yet you're not willing to disclose who they are. Aren't you blackmailing the party?
Yeah, first of all, viewers, I just want to do one small clarification emanating from what my two learned friends said about our meeting the president. In the first place, I'll start with Honorable Mbidde here. DP has been involved in talks with the government without actual involvement of other parties in the opposition, and it was okay. Honorable Mbidde here is was a member of parliament of Yala, East African Legislative Assembly. Just a day before the elections, we had a position as opposition to seek for more seats. But he came out on a DP recommendation and ticket without the actual involvement and consensus of other people, which was in order because there was some bit of impasse. And he did a very good job at the East African community because there was that bit of talking and debate and a conversation with the sitting government. It is not an acknowledgement of defeat or conceding defeat, but studying what they call political reality on the ground for the country to move on. Because there would have been sort of an impasse within the assembly, which is East Africa, and that was in order. So if another member who is a politician and a citizen comes up with an idea to meet the president, not involving other parties, then it becomes a problem. Because there's this general feeling in Uganda that political formations and ideas must come from a set of individuals, 5, to manage the affairs of the country, even as opposition. Many opposition members are not happy with this kind of move. They're saying it didn't involve the parties, it didn't involve us, because there's this belief that it is in Sibambi, it is in Jala, to come up with ideas.
So they are jealous?
Not jealousy. It is a misnomer. They believe they own this country. They must come up with the standards. They must come up with the terms, and the rest must follow. That's not the case. Any citizen under the Constitution has a duty and a responsibility to manage or to get involved in the management of the affairs of the country.
Why are you blackmailing NUP?
Now,
claiming that you took some
the people we talked to in NUP and those who responded, I talked to a member of parliament from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. at a mall, and there are CCTVs, if they want to find out. I will not mention them all. You go to medical protocol at Mulago, the people are supposed to see the president at Mbidde, and you find a list of NUP members, 5 actually.
5?
But 3 are elected members of parliament. It is clear. The Honorable Minister, Balam, came for protocol, medical protocol also, and some members fled, and senior members. So what we are talking about really is not even an issue of NUP coming or not.
I think it is.
Because this country does not belong to political parties. No.
Yeah, but
they are just formations and institutions.
Look at the absurdity of you recruiting people from the party.
Not recruiting, requesting them to come and push the head of state and fountain of honor to handle specific
Why
matters
don't you speak
as
to,
we go.
No, why don't you speak to the party leadership?
Am I a member of NUP?
It makes it sinister.
Am I a member of NUP? No. I spoke to my Secretary General, but even I had no duty to talk to him because the matters we are handling, we're not handling institutional political party issues. So we're handling issues of Uganda.
So you're doing political brokerage for President Museveni.
And what's wrong with that? It's not wrong. You can also do it as long as you are ensuring that you have peace and tranquility and harmony.
Why people may misunderstand you?
Which people? You say you. That's the reason why I'm misunderstanding.
Why some people may misunderstand.
Okay, are you misunderstanding him yourself?
No, not at all. But I have heard. Clearly, we are here simply because this is a public affair now. It is no longer the kind of affair that you ran at Mulago up to State House. It has become public, and you have explained. And I can tell you that you have safely tried to explain. But equally, Ugandans are sluggish in comprehending. The more you explain, the more some of them become, obviously. Because this is just like a hospital. Some people don't respond to treatment. I think Dr. Mario Musi knows. You see, because this is an aftermath of an election where you equally run for parliament. In Uganda, only 2 entities can send somebody to parliament. The first one is the electorate, which you have done away with. The second one is the president. Now, you can easily be misunderstood. And for me, I love it each time you locate your meetings before the election itself.
Exactly, that's what I was reading.
And for me, that one exonerates you.
Yes.
Otherwise, others would have wanted to begin to think that, first of all, it is an automatism after losing an election that sent you in order to anger. I think the psychologists call it the frustration aggression hypothesis, where they feel, even doctors, where they call it a catharsis, I think, of some sort. That for you to ease the temperatures and annoy a few other people, you do things that are actually contradictory to what they should have wished you to do. Honorable Nsibambi, this country has not grown to a level beyond which you can explain issues as you are explaining them. That is why you can have members of parliament heading for a dialogue on behalf of the country, but do not want anybody to know they are going to dialogue. Now you find, so for me it doesn't make
Honorable
sense.
Nsibambi, it was actually your turn as you were winding up. Are you at liberty to disclose these MPs?
I'm not at liberty to disclose the MPs.
Why?
Except
if the intention was clear.
Except one member I can disclose because he gave me the permission. Honorable Kayondo of Mukono, he refused to go after talking to him. He said, no, I cannot be part of your delegation. Last minute, I'd submitted the name because I cannot dialogue with you. I have to get the actual consent of my party. And I said that was in order.
No, but if the intentions are well-meaning, why wouldn't you disclose them?
Why should I disclose? I'm accounting to who? To see the president?
To the country.
Is it a crime? It's not.
No, Honorable Nsibambi, your intention was for the country, wasn't it?
I came out.
So you're making it a secret deal?
No, I came out myself. We have about 12 pictures. I've given you references if you want to verify as an investigative journalist. For me, I see actually no reason to explain meeting the president. I can only explain why the dialogue is really not coming up with a broad range of stakeholders. And I'm saying that was the beginning. We are going to approach all the willing Ugandans and stakeholders from the academia, media, activists, to have now a national dialogue, to look at the national question. There I can account, because there will be a formal body entrusted or proposing the broad range of
you're
issues.
making it shady. When you say we were a delegation of 17,
Yes.
10
Actually, I was supposed to be 30.
10
but
accepted
others
to
didn't
stand
go-
with the president
Others didn't go
for the
through-
photo moment. Others do not want to be disclosed.
And what is it?
That makes it a bad deal.
Taking a picture or disclosing involvement in an activity is personal at that level. The gist of the matter, what is to be discussed and proposed, I think that's the issue. Those are the issues. How can you talk on behalf of Ugandans? Issues to do with rural reform, issues to do with the opening space and militarization, when you have a state. Those are really the issues where I have to account.
Honorable Msisi, now it's clear. Some of your colleagues from the National Interplatform
5.
went and met the president. Doesn't this worry the party that actually Nsibambi could be on a mission to recruit and to decimate your political party?
Well, first of all, until it's proven otherwise, it remains an allegation. However, even if there are 10 people, for me, the question of where they came from is secondary. The primary issue, because of course, even in the 11th Parliament, we've had NUP members like Honorable Kagabo who crossed to NRM. So for me, it's secondary. The question still would remain, even if it's whoever person, irrespective of the party. Even if they came from UPC, even if they came from NUP,
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just something. I've got talked to 2 members who accompanied us. Now I can say accompanying us, saying if they got a letter from NUP saying that the moment they disclose their names, they will not be dismissed before swearing in. So taken, they believe that since they were sponsored by the party, and they are elected members.
So they are living in fear.
They are living in fear.
Does that mean NUP fears dialogue?
If I get that letter, that's what their belief. And I told them, no, you have no powers.
Maybe they're intellectually jaundiced, to use the words of Dr. Mario Musi. But Simon, the bigger issue for me is the motives. In fact, even the reason that a person at the level of a member of parliament who believes that is doing the right thing, even fears either appear in a picture to be disclosed, that should show you the nature of business that was conducted. Because if you believe you're doing the right thing and you are at the level of a member of parliament, then why do you
because they
disclose?
fear the whip from their political party.
Possibly because they know that
it gives a picture
the antecedents
that
of the meeting
is
were shady.
anti-dialogue.
Well, NOP is not anti-dialogue, and I want to dispute what Dr. Williams said, that, NOP has radicalized, and NOP is represented in Parliament. Parliament is a forum for dialogue. We've never fought.
Yeah, you dismissed Mpuga and
that is secondary. That's a different debate, Honorable Sivambi. And I think you are being intellectually dishonest if you take us there. Secondly, NOP is the vice chair of the National Consultative Forum. It's a forum for dialogue for political parties. We've attended all meetings of the
but
NCF.
in 2021, NOP wrote dissing iPod. They called it.
It's your option to cherry pick which dialogue we are.
No. This is critical.
The intention is the bigger picture is, Simon, is let us look at the antecedents of every time President Museveni is coming out of an election. In 2011, we had people saying the same things Honorable Swambi is saying. We need the national healing, we need dialogue, we need reconciliation. Those people ended up, to use the English phrase, in the belly of the beast. They were predated upon. In 2016, we had the same people. The NOP was not there. You remember people saying, Dr. Besigye, please come and we talk. Dr. Besigye said the same thing NOP is saying, that if it's dialogue, let it be structured. Let it not be about me as an individual. Let it be about the country. It didn't take place. Some of the people who were pushing for it ended up in the belly of the beast.
Sivambi has kickstarted the process.
In 2021, of course, the burden Honorable Sivambi is having, and when I say burden, he understands it very well, he has a burden to prove to the world that is different from all the other speeches, all the other rhetoric we've had every time we're coming out of an election. Some of the things, where I'm standing now, I have no reason to believe that is different from the groups we've had in the past. Because, for instance, he has talked about even people, political prisoners, who were even arrested after the election. And he said he met General Museveni on 3rd January before the election. And they were talking about post-election dialogue. He has talked about how shabby, not now, but I've heard him in previous interviews, the opposition was. And he was in the opposition on 3rd January when they're applying for this meeting. And he was competing with NRM candidates. So what I'm saying is, what I've heard from Honorable Sivambi is not different from what we've had in the past. So he has a burden, and the burden and the onus is upon him to show that this is different. And where we're standing now, there's nothing to show that it's beyond
where
the
things stand.
individual
Before I
things.
get to Honorable Yomus, where things stand, Sivambi is secretly meeting members of the National Unity Platform with the view of taking them to the president. He doesn't deny that he's doing political brokerage. What does this mean to you?
But Simon, I'm telling you that NOP has so many members. So we don't have, NOP has no control over who I meet now, or what I discuss with Honorable Sivambi now. The question is, because like I've said, if it's principled, I should not have a problem of me coming here to say, I met Honorable Sivambi on this and this matter. The mere fact that I would meet Honorable Sivambi in secret, and we go to secret meetings, and I even fear Honorable Sivambi disclose my name when what I'm doing is good intention, should show you that possibly I'm not in for the intention.
Would you warm up to Honorable Sivambi's invitation?
I would only warm up to Honorable Sivambi's invitation to Jalia City for a cup of coffee.
No, can I ask him before the viewers here, Honorable, my son, I know the name, and he's a smart brain, definitely as a student. Did I talk to you to give me a list of political prisoners just recently?
When we met at NBA Studios here this week?
Yes.
You talked to me casually, yes.
And what did you say, really?
No, but you told me you have the list. That's what you said.
No,
you said they have a list here.
I said, do you have additional members who do you wish to talk to the president about the incarceration? And you said it is in order.
No. The issue, and I've said it here in my preamble.
So
I've said
basically,
that all political prisoners should be released.
All
of them should
we
be
are
released.
taking a very short break, but do you look at Sivambi as the new preferred opposition to reckon with? A man who is willing to mobilize others to talk to the president in the interest of the nation?
Well, I think Honorable Savavi has a lot of explanation to make to the public, because what has taken me aback is that a member of parliament can choose to go and meet the president, but he's scared of posing for a photograph. And when he sees Honorable Baram, he runs away. It speaks a lot of volumes. It speaks a lot to the caliber, the quality. Of course, he's not the one who ran away, but the people he went with.
Yes.
It really speaks to the quality and the caliber of the leaders that we have. And really, it's a sad commentary on the opposition. Some of us, if you take a decision, you stand by it. The other day, I went to see Dr. Besige.